Hey everybody, Will Fix here. I wanted to do an explanation today quickly, just as a basis of some other talk on XRP. And I want to liken XRP as to the rails as a train and each individual token as a train cart, like you see here. Now, there's a ton of room in here. In my analogy, there's a ton of room. This can be, this can hold $10,000, $25,000 easy. This one block can hold $25,000, no problem. Currently inside it, well, at today's rate is right at what, 40 something cents, because it's dropped. We were at 60 something cents. So if you took a look into hey, I don't know how we got there. Let me escape. That is a picture that I've used. I wonder if I can go forward in these. Anyway, so if you took a look inside, you would see that there's plenty of room, right? Like this photograph here. You know, you can see that there's plenty of room inside. This is just, you know, a generic picture. All right, so, but what you could see, what's really in an XRP train is this right here. All the currencies of the world is what's inside that train. Now, how do we determine the value? Well, because of world reserve currency status being a dollar, we measure everything by the dollar. So we say current price, let's say it's 50 cents. For sake of conversation, we say each one of those carloads is worth 50 cents. Well, how much is that in yen? Well, it's this much in yen. So that train we can send in 3 seconds anywhere in the world, and it has 50 cents American dollars worth of value that can, as a world reserve currency, that's the reflection of what everything is worth. We reflect upon the dollar to say how much the yen is worth. We reflect upon the dollar to say how much how many pesos is a dollar worth. How many of whatever the currency is, we reflect upon the world reserve currency, the dollar, to give the value. However, inside of each XRP token is the capability of carrying, I don't think there is a size limit, but sake of conversation, let's say it's $25,000, even though there is no limit. So it's carrying basically all the currencies of the world in the value reflected off of 60 or 50 cents, I guess we're using in this scenario, reflected off of the dollar, with a 3-second travel time. Okay, so it's a very powerful tool in that way, isn't it? The other thing to think about is this idea was conceived by the Bank of International Settlements, or I don't know who conceived it, but the Bank of International Settlements is a circuit of banks, of American bank accounts that house American dollars, and each country has their own American dollar bank in the circuit of Bank of International Settlements. This bank might be owned by Switzerland, and this bank might be owned by Russia, but they're full of American dollars. So how it works is when this country is doing a transaction with this country, they send American dollars over there. They value it like, well, our currency is worth this, so that'll be this many American dollars that we'll send over here. And then Russia, or whatever country it is, just received American dollars that they convert to their currency. And it makes everything easy because it's based on the valuation of the dollar. So everybody's sending the equivalent of their value of money, their currency. They're sending the American dollar value from one country to another. So the Bank of International Settlements has been doing that. Well, now you can see easily the impact XRP is going to have in transmitting all of the world's money with the liquidity, adding the liquidity pools, which you can select your pairing, which could be other currencies of the world. So the system is full of each train car, each 60-cent or piece of blockchain or whatever you want to call it, each token has the ability to be any currency in the world. This is what's kind of an exciting new thing to have, right? And they're plugged in with all of the banks and all of the things. So this is the analogy that I wanted to set. Now, keeping this in mind, let's think about how loans all over the world have been happening. As a world reserve currency, we have set interest rates because our treasury has in the past been wrapped up with oil in Saudi Arabia, and the deal with Saudi Arabia is everybody had to purchase oil in American dollars. Well, that deal has ended. So the dependency upon the American dollar as a world reserve has been fractured, and is becoming more and more fractured as other countries use their own currency. They're even trying to get away from reflecting upon the dollar as a value, as an established value of what their currency is worth, because in essence all currencies become a derivative of the dollar. That's why when the dollar moves, all the other currency moves. All the other currencies of the world move. If our currency goes down, the value of their currencies go up. If our value of our currency goes up, the value of their currencies goes down. And this relationship is going to be more and more fractured. Okay, so now bring in XRP. XRP is still reflecting upon the dollar currently. It may one day not reflect upon the dollar. That might take a long time to happen, because if there's not a basis, that's why backing something with gold becomes pretty valuable, because gold has a steady value, and the different varying values of currencies change the value of what gold looks like. In other words, when the dollar gets weaker, gold gets stronger generally, and most of the time, because then it requires more dollars to buy the same amount of gold. So it appears as if the price of gold is going up because it takes more dollars to do so. We consider that more expensive. But one way to look at it is that gold's maintaining a value and the currencies are fluctuating. Well, gold hasn't been as important as it's going to be probably in the future. And that's one of the importance of tokenizing gold, because then you can have the tokenized gold valued in the tiny fractions of gold, and then the fluctuating price of gold based on a basket of currencies could be the value of that token, which would be a stable form of reflection to reflect value and say, this is worth that because that is able to buy that much gold. So I don't know if I've explained that right. Hopefully so. But this is an important thing to think about. And I want to talk about too. So I wanted to establish that just as a thought basis, to think of XRP like a train, and when you open the cart, yes, it may be worth 50 cents, 60 cents, whatever XRP is worth, but when you open that, it's also any currency you choose it to be. So take your picking. You're just getting 50 cents, whatever the value of XRP, of that currency. So just imagine piles of every currency of the world. Pick your pile. It's going to be worth basically 60 cents. And that's a very interesting thing, isn't it? The other aspect to think about, since the United States had established itself as the world reserve currency, and we were the main money of the world, and so it kind of makes all other currencies sort of a derivative since they follow the movement of the dollar. Then we established also low interest rates. Well, in our banks, when we go to the bank, there is no question when we're borrowing what currency we're going to borrow. We're going to borrow dollars. But if you're in Germany, when I lived in Germany, when I was in the military and I was stationed in Germany and I went to buy a Scirocco, do you want that loan in German marks at the time or US dollars? I'm like, well, what's the difference? Well, marks is a bigger interest rate. American dollars was a smaller interest rate. Well, that's the same deal in most of the countries of the world. You have the choice to borrow dollars at a lower rate than you do their particular currency. So most people borrowed in dollars. Well, XRP is adding the ability to have loans. They're establishing themselves sort of like a bank. They have coupled themselves with some trusts, which a trust is not like a bank. It's not a fractional reserve where they just say, you know, we invest all of our money and hold 10%. You know, a trust has a bigger responsibility over deposits, and they don't do the fractional thing. So they could establish themselves, XRP, as, I mean, honestly, as a world bank, because they would be more efficient if they were more like a trust. They would be more efficient in their liquidity. It being a system and not a system of banks controlled by a government. You know, the BIS is controlled by governments. The Bank of International Settlements, controlled by governments. The IMF is controlled by governments. So if you're not the right government, you're not on the right side, so to speak. You can be sanctioned. You can, the SWIFT system was a system that we had control over. We used it to sanction countries. XRP could get itself established as a world bank. It's establishing itself with the function that why would the world not want to use XRP services as a bank, because it's divorced from being ran by a government. So I just wanted to throw that out there, that XRP's future is huge. So one of the titles in my video is about the bounce. I believe we'll have a big recovery from this market. I believe next week we'll start to see a pretty good recovery, a speedy recovery with XRP, with the entire crypto market. And just to mention quickly, when we talk about black swan events, I believe this: when we're at any kind of we don't know the market top, but when we're at any kind of an indication that it's a market top, the typical investor wants to be able to take profit because he knows there's going to be a correction. So I believe the environment gets ripe for a black swan event. Now, it doesn't create the black swan event, and I don't believe these events are created for the purpose of crashing a market, but the environment's ready. In other words, we can react to whatever happens and then have a form of a correction. So, man, a few whales, a few people respond to the launching of these missiles by Iran, so to speak, and they respond to that and see the market pop a little, then everybody that's ripe for a black swan event thinks there it is, and so everybody starts cashing out. And so, you know, you kind of become you're fulfilling your own prophecy, you're fulfilling your own expectation. So I just wanted to point that out, and I believe that this will recover. We may have other events that cause market corrections through people reacting to take profit and to buy lower, but that's everybody's objective. is to buy lower and to take profit, right? So where do they get the profit from? From people who sell through disappointment. They see a big drop, they get tired of it, they cash it out, they're afraid they're going to lose more. Don't be that person. I believe the bounce is coming, and I believe it's coming next week. We'll see a significant bounce. Might not recover right back, but we also have the halving event taking place. What is it, next Friday, Thursday or Friday? I think we're 5 days away. Might not happen on that day, but the supply and demand issue for Bitcoin is changing drastically, so I expect to see a difference being made. So I say hang in there, prepare for the bounce. All right, that's what I have for you today. Please like and subscribe. Have a good one.